What a whole lot of... I can't even say it. Hi, everyone. Today, I'm returning to the Led Zeppelin project. I have already done my first listen to the complete Led Zeppelin 2 album. And today, I am coming back to do my second detailed exploratory listen to selections from the album, which, interestingly enough, although I can't say surprisingly, my choices coincided with the choices you made in the poll when you voted about which ones you wanted me to return to. I say not surprisingly because you have good taste and you know these songs well. And so it makes sense that my choices are matching up with yours quite closely. And my first choice is Whole Lotta Love, which I understand became their first hit in the United States and was certified gold. Let's listen to my first listen of that. Let's watch my first listen of that, and then we'll dig into listening again together. But first, let me tell you about the sponsor of this video, which is Aura, a data protection company. Even if we're careful about where and how we share our personal information, the risk of it ending up in the wrong hands is huge and growing as AI continues to develop. It just recently came out that Samsung Galaxy has a huge problem because of how users' passwords are stored in their system. One of my goals for this year is to tighten up the edges of my own data security practices, so I have started using Aura. Aura monitors your personal data, including your social security number, across billions of data points like the dark web and public court records, to alert you about potential identity theft. And in the unlikely case of something going wrong, Aura provides up to $5 million in identity theft insurance. Plus, they offer a variety of other features to keep you safe online, including real-time alerts for data breaches, a VPN for secure browsing, data broker opt-out to stop companies from selling your personal information, a password manager to help you create and store strong passwords, and more. I feel much better knowing that I have Aura's well-respected system in place, and I feel good about recommending them to you. I encourage you to make this your year to fortify yourself as much as possible, too. If you don't already have a data protection service in place, I strongly encourage you to follow this link and make use of Aura's 2-week free trial. Now, let's return and listen to my first listen of Led Zeppelin's Whole Lotta Love.
You need cooling, baby, I'm not fooling. I'm gonna send you back to schooling. Way down inside, honey, you need it. I'm gonna give you my love. I'm gonna give you my love. Oh, want a whole lot of love. 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 You've been learning, baby, I've been learning. All that good time, baby, I've been learning. I'm way down inside, honey, you need I'm gonna give you my love. I'm gonna give you my love. Oh, a whole lot of love. Want a whole lot of love. Want a whole lot of love. Want a whole lot of love.
They are really, I mean, what a crazy intense musical experience. what they're doing with panning the sound and changing where you hear, what you hear, it's like you are just lost. Somehow that song didn't strike me as notably heavier, although perhaps the drums were more put towards the front, but somehow it felt fairly comfortable as far as the heaviness of it, the weightiness of it.
Woman, you need shake for me, yeah. I wanna be your backdoor man. Hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, keep it coolin', baby. I keep it coolin', baby. I keep it coolin', baby. I keep it coolin', baby.
Well, let's just say they're not pulling any punches. You know, one of the things that I notice as I'm listening this, da 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 dum da dum da da dum da da dum. I feel like Led Zeppelin is good at coming up with a deep, strongly energized riff. I might even call it a really masculine energy sound. You know, this dee 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 dee. But when this bass enters, I can't help but think of some of the music on Pink Floyd's The Wall, because in a way I hear sort of a sort of hint of that kind of sound. You hear that in quite a few of the songs, actually. Sometimes it's very fast. Other times it's stronger. And I can't help but notice it's not just this rhythm, because this is an incredibly common rhythm. It's not something that I listen and say, oh wow, Pink Floyd borrowed that from Led Zeppelin or whatever. No, it's more the sound of it. It's almost as if I hear this sound with the bass. Somehow, there's something about that sound of this intro here, this riff as it enters, that I hear exploited and expanded upon in Pink Floyd's sonic setup. And it's just interesting to me because, as you know, I am putting pieces together along the way as I take this journey and kind of connecting the dots. And I have to say that I notice a progression from Led Zeppelin to Pink Floyd in the development of sound and how the musical style kind of morphed and was reshaped along the way. So it's just fascinating little details like this that stand out to me. And here comes the voice.
You need cooling, baby, I'm not fooling. I'm gonna send you back to schooling, way down inside. Honey, you need it. I'm gonna give you my love.
And I have to say also, this is something that I have noticed and maybe I've commented on before, but I can't help but notice the incredible progression subject-wise, in terms of, okay, let's go back to the Beatles and how they had to kind of balance what they could get through the radio censorship process, to get broadcast on air, and the way they messed around with the words, and the double meanings in the words to be able to say some things in a way that they could get away with. And now to something like Whole Lotta Love, which, let's face it, it's incredibly, deeply sexually explicit material, isn't it? And it comes through the lyrics just unmistakably. Although, if you're, say, a 5-6-year-old, of course, you've got no clue what's being talked about. So it's interesting to see the balance of the way that they have shaped these lyrics. And it's like everybody knows what they're saying, and it's obvious. And yet, if you're ignorant, if you're a 5 or 6-year-old, you could listen to this and be okay, and your parents wouldn't feel like you'd just been corrupted, or hopefully your parents wouldn't feel like you've been corrupted, because you would have no clue what's being talked about, right? It's interesting seeing how they managed to do that with this set of lyrics as well.
Way down inside. Honey, you need it. I'm gonna give you my love. I'm gonna give you my love.
And here come the drums just crashing in.
Want a whole lot of love. Want a whole lot of love.
And this.
Want a whole lot of love.
Want a whole lot of love? Want a whole lot of... I can't even say it. Want a whole lot of love? And we have this incredibly precise and articulated riff. Rhythmic. And there's a clarity and consistency. Dum da da dum da da dum da da dum. And then you have Robert Plant's voice, which just comes screaming in with all the passion and intensity that he has. And then you have the drums, which really, when they enter, aren't they incredibly bright and, I'm going to say, brassy? Brassy drums, meaning the bass, although it is articulated, and this riff, although it is articulated and clean and precise, it's warm. There's a roundness to the sound. And Plant's voice has the whole spectrum. But then when the drums come, I guess I would call them, well, let's see.
Give you my love. I'm gonna give you my love. Want a whole lot of love.
No, I couldn't call them dry. Maybe, and the other word that I was thinking of is maybe sandy, but no, I'm just going to go with brassy. In other words, it's a whole different texture and timbre musically than what we have with the warm depth and roundness that is coming from everywhere else, right? And it's such a contrast. And then when we get to this chorus, want a whole lot of love? Although it's not really milked as much as it could be, I want to say that that little bit of want a whole lot of love, and the way that it just blends together, want a whole lot of love, leaning into that kind of eliding it, gliding together, and a little bit juicier, shall we say, a little bit more bluesy in its the whole looseness of it. You feel that strongly because of how incredibly, I really believe it's the drums that have set us up to feel that so strongly, because the drums are so straight and clean and brassy in their sound. It's such an interesting way that it's made to sound more than it actually is if we were to listen to it in isolation.
Honey, you need it. I'm gonna give you my love. I'm gonna give you my love.
Here come the drums crashing in.
Want a whole lot of love.
And the what a whole lot of love.
Whole lot of love.
You feel
Want a whole lot of love.
it has the squishiness, right? Want a whole lot of love.
You've been learning, baby. I've been learning.
This is more intense.
Good time, baby, baby. I've been learning.
And the drums are holding it locked in.
I'm gonna give you my love. I'm gonna give you my love. Oh, whole lot of love.
And here this comes in. Want a whole lot of love. It's probably also that that adds to it. But even if that weren't there, want a whole lot of love, the entire singing style is different. It's a small difference, but again, it's the way the instrumentation has set us up so that when it comes, we feel that as provocative, as a little bit sassy, as a little bit, hey, you want a whole lot of love? It's this sort of, it's an invitation. It's a flirtation.
I'm gonna give you my love. I'm gonna give you my love. Oh, whole lot of love.
Here it comes. Very suggestive. And interesting the way it becomes just the drums here. And all this wonderful percussion that's happening in here. And then the swirling of the sound. takes on a very earthy, primitive feel, which then, with Robert Plant's vocalizing, becomes incredibly suggestive and it's almost like you hear thunder crashing, your door creaking. It's as if you're being pulled in different directions. But the idea is, this is the sexual experience. And this is it includes all the primal instincts. It includes all the drama of nature. It includes all the wildness and intensity of passion. And all of that is brought into the experience. And then the creaking door, like, it makes it become almost a thing of magic, of stories that we are told. And all of that is brought into this. And then with Robert Plant's vocalizing, it is tied together and wrapped up and presented as the sexual experience. You could even imagine a sort of, with all of this happening here, you could even imagine a sort of animated, even getting a bit scientific, a sort of animation of the science of sex, right? It goes crazy here. It's absolutely wild what Led Zeppelin has managed to condense and present. And then Robert Plant comes screaming in. And we know what he means when he says love, right? And then, what a change. It's like, all right, somebody says, okay, pull me out of this. Let's get back to singing here. Let's get back to the music, because we're getting kind of lost in this experience, aren't we? Thanks to the drums for getting us back on our feet. And it's so interesting the way that the guitar, kind of guitar solo. It's not a full solo, but it's a solo moment there, leading us back to the song itself. It's so overwhelmed by the bass interjections. The guitar, bum, bum. Again, it has this sort of feeling of we have to somehow get ourselves anchored in reality again. Now we are back to singing. Isn't it interesting also the way that this riff da 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 dum da da dum da da dum da 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 dum da da dum da da dum. You hear that? Now think, what a whole lot of love. And you recognize how incredibly closely knit those two parts are. This riff with that sort of chorus, shall we say? And so here, as we're listening to Robert Plant sing, all this, you've been cooling, baby, I've been drooling, all the good times I've been misusing, way, way down inside, I'm going to give you my love. And you hear that, and you hear the bass. It's almost as if you hear, without even realizing it, you hear the chorus, what a whole lot of love, layered via the instrumental connection with that portion of the music.
All the good time, baby, I've been misusing. Way, way down inside.
One whole lot of love.
Give you my love.
One whole lot of love.
Give you every inch of my love.
One whole lot of love.
Give you my love.
What a whole lot of love.
Yeah. All right, let's go.
And here comes it. What a whole lot of love. And then
Way down inside.
and in case you hadn't missed it yet,
Woman, you need
bum bum. And back into it. But now we have also this percussion which kind of contours the primitive tribal feel as well. In other words,
shake for me, yeah. I wanna be your back door man. Hey, oh, hey, oh, hey,
and I almost feel like that we could say that drum fill. I want to call it a drum glissando or something like that. Because you hear it going down. And on the harp, I would be going something like that, right? But on the drums, it's and going lower in pitch, right? Right in the middle. Very often we hear those drum fills as filler material, right? Or as leading us into something. But here it comes in the midst of all that's happening. Yeah.
shake for me, yeah. I wanna be your back door man. Hey,
Here it goes.
oh, hey, oh, hey, oh.
There it is again, right? As Plant is singing, the drums come tumbling in again. And as it fades out, we hear Plant screaming again, right? It is so incredibly intense all the way through. But somehow there's a kind of musical balance to it, and it has to do with the way it's paced. So even though we feel the intensity comes in different ways. There are sections to the music. The music is divided so that we manage to come out alive somehow. And I feel like if any of these musical sections were much longer, the piece would be thrown out of balance. Or I would just need a break from the sound because every part of it is so intense. You have this riff which is so charged with energy. Simple but incredibly supercharged. And then you have Plant's voice, which is just carrying on with wild abandon and adding so much to the suggestiveness and the message of the piece. And then we have the drums, the drum section. Interesting to have that drum solo in there, isn't it? Quite a long one. Not the longest on the album, but still notable for its length, at least to my ears. And each of those things contributes to, okay, we have this, now we have the drum solo that gives us a break from all the screaming and then we have the next bit that comes, and then eventually come back around to kind of wrap it up with something similar to what we opened with. Well balanced, well formed, it manages to hold together, even though you could maybe sum it up as saying, okay, it's Robert Plant screaming and hollering. It's some guitar. It's a riff that goes on forever and ever. And a lot of drums. You could sum it up, and it would sound incredibly unimpressive. But I have to say that, well, why did I choose this? I chose it because it is such an interesting piece, the way that these parts and pieces are used to put together such a cohesive whole, which is incredibly powerful and eloquent in its expression. And that makes a great piece of music. That's why Whole Lotta Love is so compelling. So this is the first one on the album that I've chosen to listen to in detail, and it's been fun to kind of go through bit by bit and say, this is why, this is what's going on. Tomorrow, we'll come to the next one because this is a special weekend exploring what I've selected from this album. I won't say what it is. I'll see you then.